Kia ora mai tātou, tēnā tātou katoa. Members, when we broke for the dinner break, the House was in committee for further consideration of the Appropriation 2014 and 15 Confirmation and Validation Bill. This is the annual review debate. The committee currently is considering the question that the reports of committees relevant to the primary sector be noted. Meka Waitiri was speaking and has 4 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. She shouldn't waste any of them.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Before we broke, I was taking the honour to make a contribution on the financial review for 2014-15 in the primary sector, sir, and I started off acknowledging the Minister taking to his feet and explaining how pleased he is with the performance of his particular sector. And I thought I'd offer sort of the cost of that progress, and I started to talk around what's happening in the dairy industry in terms of the crisis around low milk production, and obviously auction prices are hurting farmers. But sir, I also want to talk about I guess the whole sector's performance around water management, and it's been mentioned by previous speakers on this particular sector, that we really do want a quality that's about swimmable, our rivers to be swimmable, as opposed to the current quality standard, which is wadeable, that this government's promoting. So, sir, I fully support the Minister's ambition to double the value of our primary sector by 2025, which is merely 9 years away, sir. And I guess the offer to the Minister to be the progressive Minister, I believe that he thinks he is that we seriously have to clean our rivers, because one of our added advantages of doubling the value in our primary sector is that we actually have clean rivers. That's our economic advantage on the international stage, that we are a primary producing country which actually values the clean green image and the added value it brings to our exports, sir. We also want a country that offers and implements robust and world-class labour laws. So all our workers that are working in the primary industry, and there are many workers that derive their livelihood, sir, from the primary sector, that when they go to work, that they come home. So they go to work and they come home and they're safe while they're at work. And obviously, sir, in that space, we want to ensure that the jobs that the primary sector are creating actually go to Kiwis first. So, sir, I did want to say that the progress from this side of the House in terms of the primary sector is fairly wanting in the dairy, in the water management. But the area that I'm particularly keen on, Mr. Chair, is actually the land issue. And we've had numerous applications to the Office of Investment, the Overseas Investment Officer, and almost all bar one application has been turned down. So there are some concerns around how robust we are checking overseas investors when they are coming to obviously buy up our land. Land which is part of our country, which is really important. It's part of our psyche, it's in our DNA. And we want to ensure that what land we have left in New Zealand remains in New Zealanders' hands. So in this part of the financial review, there are some issues seriously that needs to be addressed around the role of the Overseas Investment Office. But sir, one report that's come from the Minister's own department, the Ministry for Primary Industry, is the growing the productive base of Māori freehold land. And that, to me, sir, is one of the reasons why I've come into Parliament as the member of Ikaro Rāwhiti and one of the largest holders of Māori freehold land. It is important that we ensure what land that is in Māori hands remained in Māori hands. And I only draw that reference to because we do have a bill coming later in the House, the Turu Whena, and I'll leave that for that time. But I actually want to draw the House's attention to the Auditor General's, his own audit of the Ministry for Primary Industry. And if I can just quote on page 5 of their report to the Select Committee, he talks about an area of performance for his ministry that I'm sure the Minister is going to take care of, and that's one of performance information and associated systems and control. And essentially, sir, this part is talking about, although the audit has given it a general performance of good for the previous year, it did make a comment that the primary, and I quote, sir, the primary industries, including Māori, have greater access to capital and have skills needed to grow and innovate. We note that the indicators of progress that give a view as to whether industry has found access to capital more or less challenging over the review period were missing. So still we need to do better in this space.
I call Mo